Kingston, Jamaica, October 13th, 1979, 11:45 p.m. The concert was over. 15,000 people were filing out of National Stadium, their hearts still buzzing from 2 hours of Bob Marley's music. The night air was warm, filled with the sound of satisfied fans discussing their favorite songs, making plans to meet up, slowly returning to reality after being transported by reggae's greatest prophet. If you love discovering the untold stories behind music history's most incredible moments, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell because we uncover the hidden gems that shaped the legends we know today. Bob Marley had just finished his encore performance of One Love. It had been a perfect night. But what happened in the parking lot would test everything Bob believed about love conquering hate. As Bob walked toward the exit, they heard shouting from outside. This wasn't celebration. This was angry, violent, desperate. 17-year-old Michael Brown was running. He had attended Bob's concert with his friends, pooling their money to buy tickets. Michael lived in Trenchtown, worked part-time, helped his mother with his siblings, and dreamed of becoming a teacher. But right now, Michael was running for his life. 3 police officers were chasing him: Constable Patterson, Sergeant Clark, and Inspector Thompson. They had spotted Michael walking with his friends and called out, "You, come here!" Michael's friends scattered. They knew the drill. Young black men in Kingston didn't ask questions when police called. They ran. Michael hesitated, a moment too long. Now he was running through the parking lot, weaving between cars. He almost made it to the street, almost made it to safety. But Inspector Thompson tackled him from behind. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" Thompson demanded, pinning Michael to the ground. "Nowhere, sir. I was just leaving the concert. I didn't do anything wrong." "Don't lie to me, boy. You were dealing drugs, weren't you?" "No, sir. I don't use drugs. I just came to see Bob Marley." Patterson kicked Michael in the ribs. "Look at him. Dreadlocks, Rasta clothes. They're all drug dealers." Michael curled up, trying to protect himself. "Please, I just came to see Bob Marley. I work at Morrison's grocery store." But the officers weren't interested in the truth. Clark pulled out his baton. "Maybe a few hits will help you remember what you were really doing here." Bob pushed open the back door and immediately saw the commotion. 3 police officers surrounding someone on the ground. He could hear the boy pleading. "Officers!" Bob called out as he approached. "What's happening here?" Inspector Thompson looked up, startled. "Mr. Marley, what are you doing out here?" Bob looked down at Michael, blood trickling from his lip. "What did he do?" "Drug dealing," Patterson said immediately. "Caught him red-handed." Bob knelt beside Michael. "What's your name?" Michael Brown." "Michael, did you enjoy the concert?" Despite his fear, Michael smiled. "It was the best night of my life, Mr. Marley." Bob looked up at the officers. "Where are the drugs?" The officers looked at each other. They had found nothing. Michael's pockets contained a concert ticket stub, some money, and Bob's song lyrics written on paper. "He must have thrown them away when we started chasing him," Clark said lamely. Bob stood up slowly. A crowd was gathering. "So you have no drugs, no evidence, but you're beating this boy because... why?" "Mr. Marley, this is police business," Thompson said. "You should go home." Bob looked around at the growing crowd. People were pulling out cameras. "Brother Michael," Bob said, offering his hand to help the boy up. "Come with me." Patterson stepped forward. "He's not going anywhere. He's under arrest." "For what?" Bob asked. "Resisting arrest." Bob helped Michael to his feet, then walked back toward the venue entrance. Bob picked up his acoustic guitar and walked to the microphone. "Hello, Jamaica." Bob's voice echoed through the nearly empty stadium and out into the parking lot where hundreds of people were still gathered. Everyone stopped what they were doing. The police officers looked up at the venue, confused. The crowd in the parking lot moved closer to hear better. A few minutes ago, Bob continued, his voice carrying that legendary authority that had made him the voice of Jamaica. I witnessed something that broke my heart. 3 police officers were beating a 17-year-old boy named Michael Brown. His crime? Attending my concert? His real crime? Being young and black and wearing dreadlocks? Thompson's face went white. This was being broadcast to the entire area, and people were listening. I want to say something to those officers, and to anyone else who believes that authority gives them the right to brutalize the innocent. You are wrong. You are not protecting society. You are poisoning it. You are not enforcing law. You are creating lawlessness. Bob started playing his guitar, gentle chords that everyone in Jamaica would recognize. Michael Brown, come here, brother. Come up to the stage. Michael looked around frantically. The police officers were staring at him, their faces a mixture of anger and confusion. The crowd was watching, waiting. Bob's security chief, Tony Welsh, appeared beside Michael. Come on, son. Bob wants you on stage. Michael walked through the crowd toward the venue entrance. People patted his shoulders, offered encouraging words. Someone gave him a tissue to wipe the blood from his lip. When Michael reached the stage, Bob put his arm around him. This is Michael Brown, Bob announced. He saved his money for weeks to come to this concert. He works at Morrison's grocery store. He helps his mother with his younger brothers and sisters. He loves music. He dreams of becoming a teacher. And 20 minutes ago, 3 police officers decided that none of that mattered because of the color of his skin and the style of his hair. The crowd outside was growing. Word was spreading through the neighborhood that Bob was back on stage, making an unscheduled statement. Michael, I want you to tell everyone what happened, Bob said, holding the microphone toward the teenager. Michael was shaking. He had never spoken to a crowd before, never had a microphone in front of him. But Bob's presence beside him, the warmth of his arm around Michael's shoulders, gave him strength. I was just walking to the bus stop, Michael said, his voice barely a whisper at first. Then stronger. The police called me over. When I asked what I had done wrong, they told me to run so they would have an excuse to beat me. When I didn't run fast enough, they chased me anyway. Bob took the microphone back. Michael, what's your favorite song? One Love, Michael said without hesitation. Bob smiled. Mine too. Let's sing it together. And there, on the stage of National Stadium, with hundreds of people gathered in the parking lot and thousands more listening from their cars and homes as the sound carried through the Kingston night, Bob Marley and 17-year-old Michael Brown sang One Love. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. Hear the children crying, one love. Hear the children crying, one heart, saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel all right. As they sang, something beautiful happened. The crowd joined in. People who had been strangers 20 minutes ago were now united in song, united in purpose, united in the simple belief that love was stronger than hate. The 3 police officers stood in the parking lot, listening to their victims sing with Bob Marley about unity and love. They had become the villains in their own community, and they knew it. When the song ended, Bob spoke again. I want to say something to Constable Patterson, Sergeant Clark, and Inspector Thompson, who I know are listening. You have a choice to make right now. You can continue to be agents of oppression, or you can remember why you became police officers in the first place. To protect and serve, not to intimidate and brutalize. Bob paused, looking out over the crowd. Michael Brown broke no law tonight. He hurt no one. He threatened no one. He was guilty of nothing except loving music and being born black in a world that sometimes treats that as a crime. If you arrest him now, you arrest him in front of hundreds of witnesses who have seen his innocence. You arrest him knowing that your only evidence is the color of his skin. Ask yourselves, is that the kind of police officers you want to be? Inspector Thompson made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his career. He walked away, just turned around and left the parking lot, leaving Patterson and Clark standing alone. Patterson looked around at the crowd, at the cameras, at the faces staring at him with a mixture of disgust and pity. He followed Thompson. Clark stood alone for another minute, looking up at the stage where Bob and Michael were still standing together. Then he too walked away. The crowd erupted in cheers. After Bob finished his impromptu concert, he invited Michael and his family to his home the next day. Rita Marley cooked dinner, and the Browns sat around the Marleys' table sharing stories and laughter. "What do you really want to do with your life, Michael?" Bob asked. "I want to be a teacher," Michael said. "I want to help kids in Trenchtown get an education, get opportunities I never had." Bob smiled. "Then that's what you'll do. I know some people at the University of the West Indies. Let's see about getting you a scholarship." Michael started crying. Not from pain this time, but from overwhelming gratitude. "Why are you doing this for me, Mr. Marley? You don't even know me." Bob's answer was simple. "Because tonight I saw a 17-year-old boy refuse to let hatred make him hateful. I saw you get beaten down and get back up with love still in your heart. That's not weakness, Michael. That's the strongest thing in the world." Michael Brown went on to attend the university on a scholarship funded by the Bob Marley Foundation. He became a teacher, then a principal, then Jamaica's Minister of Education. In every school he led, in every speech he gave, he told the story of the night Bob Marley saved his life not with medicine or money, but with music and love. The 3 police officers involved in the incident faced different fates. Inspector Thompson was quietly transferred to a desk job and retired early. Constable Patterson was suspended for 6 months and eventually quit the force. Sergeant Clark, however, underwent a transformation of his own. Clark sought out Michael Brown 3 weeks after the incident. He apologized publicly, admitted his wrongdoing, and asked what he could do to make amends. Michael, following Bob's example of forgiveness, helped Clark understand the impact of police brutality on communities like Trenchtown. Clark became one of Jamaica's first police officers to specialize in community outreach. He spent the rest of his career working to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the communities they served. The footage of Bob's impromptu concert that night became legendary. It was shown in police academies as an example of how community leaders can de-escalate situations through moral authority. It was played in schools to teach children about standing up to injustice. It was broadcast internationally as an example of Jamaica's struggle for equality and human rights. But perhaps most importantly, it became a symbol of something Bob Marley had always believed: that music wasn't just entertainment. It was a weapon against oppression, a tool for healing, a force that could transform hearts and minds. Years later, Michael Brown would say, "That night taught me that there are 2 kinds of power in the world: the power that comes from fear and force, and the power that comes from love and truth. Bob showed me that the second kind is always stronger than the first." Today, there's a small plaque in the parking lot behind what used to be National Stadium. It reads, "On this site in 1979, Bob Marley demonstrated that the most powerful response to injustice is not violence, but visibility. When we shine light on darkness, love conquers hate." Every year on October 13th, Jamaica holds a unity concert at that same venue. The final song is always "One Love," and it's always sung by a police officer and a young person from the community, standing together on stage, proving that Bob's message of unity wasn't just a dream. It was a blueprint for a better world. If this incredible story of courage, justice, and the power of music to heal communities moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that standing up for others is always worth the risk. Have you ever witnessed injustice and found the courage to speak up? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more untold stories about the legends who taught us that silence in the face of oppression is complicity, but music in the face of injustice is revolution.